Hello, my name is Jeff Rizzo. I'm with McElroy Metal. Today we're going to be showing you the Meridian panel on a residential roofing application. This is our Meridian panel. It comes in striations. It comes with minor ribs. It's 16-inch wide or 12-inch wide, 26 gauge or 24 gauge. And always remember that your panels, when they come from us, you're going to have a factory applied film on it. So always make sure that you peel the film before you're starting to apply the product. Please make sure that you don't leave these out in the sun, because what will happen is this film usually bakes on and it's very difficult to get it off. So we're going to show you a few of the trims that we use. This is called the M1.5 Eve drip trim. This is what you use typical for at the drip edge. This is called the M2.75 rake trim, so we can custom do any kind of lengths up to 20 foot long. This is called the rake tie-in trim architectural. It's smaller here, but we can make it wider. Pretty much we can customize it to what you need. We have the W Valley Meridian, 9.5 inches. Please make sure you tell us what pitch so that we can get this bent to you properly. We have the offset cleat, which goes along with the Valley, and that's basically your starter for the Valley when we're hemming panels. This is the Z closure. We use the Z closures pretty much everywhere, so you'll be seeing a lot of the Z. This is your high side tie-in trim. Please make sure you tell us what pitch it is. Notice that it will have open hem. If it's closed, that's okay. You can always open it up with the screwdriver. This is your hip cover, residential hip cover. Try to keep it small. We don't want the big ones unless you decide to. You can do closed hem or open hem. This is our ridge cap architectural. It's a flat style. We can do different styles of ridge trim. This is the Snap Z vent. That is actually comes pre-cut for you. And it comes with butyl tape, so it makes your life really easy when you're venting the ridge for Meridian. And then you just simply hook into an open hem. Meridian panel is our residential panel. Currently here it's 26 gauge, 16 inch. This is Galvalume Plus. We can do it in 12 inch. We can do it in 24 gauge as well. It is a direct fasten system, so it's designed for 312 and up. So this is called field notching or hemming a panel. I made a mark about 1.5 inches because that's our drip edge and what it has. As we're field notching, I have to get over in this area because I want to create a tab so I can fold and hem the panel. So I'll move in from here on this side. I made a line 1.5 inches here, 1.5 inches here, making my cuts. You'll need 2 separate snips. I use like the WIS straight bills, and you'll need a green and a red. And then we're going to come straight down, and then we're going to notch it into this area. Okay, that's called field notching or eave notching. Your panel is ready to go. And I always want to make sure that when I'm going to hem, I want to make sure that my hems are nice and straight and square. And then you fold. And that's your eave notched, ready to go. So Meridian, you can tell them if you need it left to right pre-notched or right to left, and also they will notch both ends for the Meridian panel. Now on the Meridian application, we're going to start with our very first panel. We already have our eave trim down. This is our M1.5 Eve drip trim. Over on this side is a fixed rake cleat. When a customer asks us that they want to have a total concealed system, this is the application that we use. We start with the first panel. We always want to make sure that first panel is square, so that's an important part. So it's the same thing as what you've already been doing. You can do something quick like this to square it off the drip edge, or you can do 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10. Put the screws in every 18 inches. And you want them tight. You don't want to over tighten them because you could dimple the steel and create oil canning. Now as we're installing the rake trim, what we're going to do is take a simple measurement. We're going to measure from there to there to the open hem. It's about 4 inches. A typical contractor will look at these Z's if he has to splice them, and he'll go, okay, I'm starting from the bottom, and then I'll just put this one on top. But the water doesn't run this way, because this is all covered underneath the rake trim. So you see on the bottom, this is what happens. So the water runs underneath there. So what you have to do is kind of the reverse, something a little different. The water shed is this way here's how it sheds that water. So very important. I've seen people have to tear apart rakes before to get it done properly. So my 4-inch dimensions here, that's my crucial dimension. I made my marks and I add an extra inch in. Make another cut on this line. This is my crucial line. Miter that, keep it this way. I take it like this. I'll take my 6-inch Melco hand seamers. Like that, take them this way. Now I just created what you have here. So we want to use an 1/8-inch drill bit to make our holes, and I'll put one at the very bottom here, and then we'll go up the rake as we go. So we just want to keep it from moving anywhere. And instead of using the old pop rivet gun, I found something that's much better. So once you have the hole, you simply load this, put it on a drill bit, you hold the top, press the gun, reverse it, pop it out. It makes your life a whole lot easier if you're doing a lot of pop rivets. Next, what we're going to do is, because we have the panel down, we want to make this nice and tight. So once we have that set, I'll go a couple times across, so it makes it nice and tight, and it doesn't dimple the steel. Now you have a nice tight edge. Okay, as we're applying panels, we're putting the screws down every 18 inches. You notice that we hem the panels. I like to hem, and I like to also crimp it as I go. So simply just keep on going. When you're doing a roof, typically you want to always have your crew know what their jobs are. One is the guy at the eave. His job is to make sure everything's lining up nice and straight. He's making sure that this is all crimped every single time. He hits the screws every single time where he can reach. You usually have a guy running the panels in between, and then you'll have a guy up at the ridge that is actually screwing it down and making sure everything's right. You use a rubber mallet when they're longer panels. You always hit from the bottom and go up. You don't want to hit from the top and go down. The panels will slide on you. So the job of the guy at the ridge is to make sure once we're nice and tight, everything's in, we're all down, he puts a screw in at the top so it's nice and secure. So we're working on the sidewall trim, the rake tie-in trim. We're a little short on the panel, that's okay. Just showing you application. So the other application that is typical is using a Z. And you go every 12 inches as you're going. Then we're going to put the rake tie-in trim. We'll hook it. It has an open hem. Every 12 inches as you go up. We're now moving on from the sidewall application or the rake tie-in to the high side tie-in trim. We're going to be utilizing Z closures that you cut in between each of the panels, and you put butyl tape underneath. I dry fit it on my panels. I make a mark here, 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 all the way on going down so I know where to set my Z's. What I usually do is I get my Z's all set in first. Once I have the Z's in place, what I like to do is kind of bend them up a little bit so that it receives my open hem. Next, I'll take my caulk gun. You want to put a bead there, a bead on the sides. This way nothing can get in on the side, just it can't get blown in. Now we're ready to set the trim in place. I'm going to make sure I hook into everything. Typically do that every 12 inches. Now you'll have the opportunity to put your siding. You can put a J-channel down here. You can whatever kind of siding you're doing. Okay, next we're going to move on to our standard peak trim. And you notice that we have it bent at a negative pitch. So to take on the pitch here. What I'll do is very similar to what I did over at the high side tie-in trim. I put it on as a dry fit. I make my marks across, and the Z-closures are already butyl taped, very similar to what we just did over there. We're doing a hook system, so this actually would be up longer, everything would be longer. I just want to show you what's underneath here. So you have a Z underneath, here's your rake trim. Again, this is just a precaution. So wind, rain, can't get in. Has an open hem on it. Hook it. Then we can put either a face screw in on the front of it, or we can hook into a fixed rake cleat similar to what you used over on the rake itself.